We start today. Oh, man, was this a good one. A good old-fashioned 1-for-1.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
It does. Makes a lot of sense on both sides. We learned last night of a major trade, the Mets acquiring second baseman Marcus Semien in exchange for outfielder Brandon Nimmo, who'd had only one home in the big leagues. He's headed to Arlington to play in the American League. This is such a massive deal. John Heyman, Mets are sending $5 million to Arlington to slightly offset the dollar difference, and we'll get to that in a sec. Mike Puma from the New York Post. Mets approached Nimmo on Friday, asking him to waive his no trade. He spent the next day or so considering it, including a chat with Jacob deGrom before giving his okay. Interesting little side note. How about
Jacob's in Texas, and he was a former Met.
Right.
I'm sure that was like, hey, former teammate, how is it? Okay, let's get to the numbers. Go ahead.
Here were the numbers from last year. And look, you don't need us to talk about either player because both of them are blue-chip star players. Interestingly, and this might come as a surprising note for some fans, Brandon Nimmo was actually owed more money on his current contract. So the $5 million that went to offset the money does not come close to the differential in outstanding contract debt. Nimmo's owed about $30 million more than Marcus Semien is. So give me your gut shot reaction to this.
Well, there's a lot to dive into. I think it's a fair trade across the board. Look, the Mets needed to plug that hole at second base. If I'm a Met fan, don't worry about Marcus Semien. 127 games last year. He had an off year. This guy's a perennial all-star, MVP finisher in the American League. He's going to be back. He'll play 150 games for you. I think it's going to be a great impact. It also gives them some protection for Soto, depending on what they do behind him, because somebody's going to have to hit behind Soto at some point if you don't bring Pete back or something like that. So he extends and gives them some flexibility in the lineup. Love Marcus Semien. On the other side,
let me lock in on the financials.
Yeah, man. I mean, the money, when both those guys did big deals, is a big thing. Then Brandon Nimmo. Obviously, we talked about just now the phone call he had to make to Jacob deGrom to see what it's like going to Texas. You know, I think he's going to love Texas. I think the Mets are going to miss him. It's hard to play in New York City. This guy grew up in the system, grew up in New York, and became a fan favorite. The contract is big, though.
Yeah.
For the production that he produces.
Yeah.
He's not going to give you 40 homer seasons. He's going to give you what he does, 25 homers, solid defense, and those type of things. So that's why the deal, I think, is made. And now it gets real interesting. I laid those two out for everybody, but now it's the what after.
Right.
Because there's some moves that are going to be made based off of these.
Yeah.
Has to.
Well, let's start with the Rangers side of things.
Let's do it.
Just because we're diving in here. And Evan Grant suggested last week that the Rangers are looking to pare down payroll. He was clear to specify afterwards that does not necessarily mean a trade of Semien or Seager. But now that Semien's been dealt, they've actually taken on more money in Nimmo's contract. So if, in fact, they're serious about paring down payroll, all roads lead to one guy making the most money on that roster right now, and that's Corey Seager. If they trade Corey Seager, however, that signals a massive departure in direction, and you can't categorize that any other way. When you add this deal to what they did in non-tendering Jonah Heim and Adolis Garcia on Friday, this Rangers team is going to look completely different in 2026.
Well, I think they made their run when they got Semien and Seager. Remember that? It was like, hey, here, we'll turn this thing around.
Won a World Series. Yep.
Bochy's gone now. The players you just talked about non-tendered. Seager's got to be next. It just makes. Look, here's the deal. He is the centerpiece of this whole thing. Seager has 6 years, $189 million left on his contract. All right? I'm going to throw a couple thoughts out here for you, Matt, and then you can react to it.
Okay.
But Seager's at 6 years, $189. You got Bregman, Bellinger, and Tucker, the top free agents out there, that are looking at more money than the 189 and more years. And then you got Bryce Harper at 6 years, 165. I'm sorry, but if I'm in the free agent market, I want Seager or I want Harper before I want the three guys.
Before you want to bite down on a new deal.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so who does that mean then? And look, Steve Phillips and Eduardo Perez, who were on before us on the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio and simulcast here on the network, they both laid out some potential destinations for Corey Seager. I think the fit with the Yankees is too good to ignore. I mean, there are a few teams you could make that case for.
Shortstop.
Shortstop power if they lose Bellinger. And here's another if, and you were the first to suggest this. I'll credit you on this thought. If Bellinger signs with the Mets,
yes,
and it
which I
feels
think
like
he will.
that could really be possible here.
Yeah.
Then there's a hole in that lineup. I mean, again, this is the first step in what's going to be a fascinating 6-ish weeks to figure out the teams with money. How do they behave now?
You know what's interesting about this? The hottest movie in the country is Wicked right now, right? And who's the Wicked? It's the Wizard. Who's the Wizard in this? Scott Boras. He's got all the guys. Scott's got every one of these players.
I mean, that really pisses me off.
Well, I don't know if there's anything to get pissed off about. It's just, hey, look, man.
He's just the puppeteer.
He's got.
And I think you have to pay attention to that. I think it's going to be interesting to see where these guys all land.
So I'm sure that the consultation process for Brandon Nimmo that he talked about there, he called people beyond just Jacob deGrom. I'm sure there were a lot of conversations with the folks at Boras Corp. You know, is this waiving this no trade clause? Is this in my best interest? They decided it was. And there's probably, to your suggestion here, Harold, a bigger plan that we'll see how it's hatched over the next few weeks. This is fascinating.
I just think this is Scott's winter. He's got Marcus Semien. He's got Bellinger. He's got Tucker. No, he doesn't have Tucker.
No.
He has Bregman.
Yeah.
All right. He has Harper.
Alonso.
He has Pete Alonso. He has Seager.
Does this do anything for Alonso staying with the Mets to you? Does this completely...
I still think the Mets have to sign Pete.
I do too, but does this change any direction
If
at
they
all?
get Bellinger, it changes everything. Because Cody can play first base.
Yeah, but you need an outfielder now. You just traded one.
I think Batty goes to the outfield.
Beatty, McNeil, both of them in the outfield?
Yeah.
They've tried that.
I do.
By the way, is Nick Morabito related to Mickey Morabito from the A's?
I can't say all the names right anyway, so yeah.
I feel like there's a glut of infielders here, and both of these teams now, post-trade, are looking much different in terms of excess and need. Maybe too many...
Maybe Acuna plays with his brother in Atlanta.
Too many infielders in New York, not enough infielders in Arlington.
You know who we're also missing out on is the Mets have a place for Ozuna, the DH. So he can fit in there as well. So I don't know. I think there's the board is going to be
this is good,
interesting.
Man. There is a lot of interesting stuff.
And the biggest thing, Matt, I take away from this is that the trade is back. The big trade, the big number.
We've had 2 1-for-1s.
Yes, and they're not shy of the number. You're trading money for money. And so it's starting to line up.
Let me tell you, if this happens that Bryce Harper gets traded and Corey Seager gets traded, I will give you full credit. Because unlike in the past when you've hated this.
I hate this time of year.
This has been a fun time of year so far.
It's gonna be teams are jockeying to win the title.